First of all, Happy New Year. I don't even remember if I've already been in the group since we have the new year. I don't believe I have. I want to try out some really cool new, holy crap. Oh, that's nice. Cool new, oh, I'm going again, crap connection. This is the usual, isn't it, that everybody's using that actually goes well with my Camilla. Ta-da! Do you like? So, I wanted to do a live lash lashing today, and I actually want to make these like, I hope to be doing it weekly, but because I will be traveling a lot this year, every week might be a little bit problematic to do like an extra live lesson, but I can always talk about stuff. So, you know, that's what I do. So the things that were requested the most is isolating, as well as, oh, dipping. Dipping was another one actually. I will cover that as well. Dipping, isolating, and volume attachment. So this is what I will be sharing with you today. Now I will be moving the camera around quite a bit because obviously I'm in my, there's my flowers again. Obviously I'm in my home salon. Let me do this one now. I'm in my home salon, and I have my area of lashing over there, and then I also have my, let me take my phone out, and I also have my filming area here for all my coaching. Hi Sue. And this is where I will be teaching you the volume attachment. And yes, so where can we start? Let's start with the basic stuff, and I try and keep this at about half an hour because I have to head out and do some more shopping, and I like to try out different filters, as you can tell. Now let me do without filter. Okay, let's move over here. I'm glad you have made it, Michaela. Very, very glad you have made it. Okay, actually I might plug my phone in again because I need to show you, and I will turn my phone around if I know how to do this. How do I turn my phone around? Here we go. Because I need you to be able to see me like in this sort of close-up position. So let me move some stuff around, and while I'm doing this, say hello to me, give me a thumbs up if you're there, give me a little heart if you're excited, and leave me a comment and let me know where you are from and what time it is at the moment. That is always exciting to know. Now I need to move this around again so I can see what I'm actually looking at when I'm doing it. All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is isolation. Isolating is very important when we're lashing. Very, very important. And I want to talk about different types of tweezers that I'm using first. 9 p.m., 7 p.m., 11 a.m. Perth. Oh, I thought you were 2 hours ahead of us. You're 2 hours behind us. Got these ones. These are some of my favorite isolation tweezers because they're nice and long and they have like a 45-degree bend. Then a lot of people like to use the really cheap ones, like these are the Vitas 5BSA. I can show you close up. This is what they look like, 5BSA. And then 10 p.m. Canada, 11. It seems to be a really good time because there's a lot of people at the moment. So I think it really depends. Let me just move this over a bit so I can talk to you again. There we go. I actually think it really depends on your hand shape as well, right? If you have tiny hands like myself, I prefer skinnier and little tweezers like these ones or these ones, like really thin ones because they're much lighter, yeah? If you have very long hands for isolating, I would suggest you get long tweezers. Anything from 14 centimeters is good. These are 14. You can get them even longer. I think some companies make them at 16 centimeters. Because when you're holding, and this is how you're holding when you're isolating, by the way. This is what I do anyway, yeah? Some people work with straight tweezers and they kind of work like that. I personally don't do that because of this reason, yeah? Your hand is constantly at this sort of angle. I'll show you again. When you're sitting here like this, your hand is like at this angle when you're lashing, yeah? So this or this, we want to avoid that. So what I do is I actually keep my wrist not bent backwards too much, but just a little bit. And then I move my chair around as I isolate. So if I isolate on the left, I usually go to the right. If I isolate on the right, I usually go a bit to the left with my chair, yeah? I hope you can see this. So I'm moving around as I am isolating, because I'm helping myself, I'm helping my posture, and I'm helping my hands to not get stuck around the nose and not to take away the air from my client, which is, you know, something you don't want to do, otherwise your client will not come back. And so yeah, longer tweezers for longer hands and stronger hands usually, and thin, skinnier ones, and they can be shorter if you have you know, shorter hands and skinnier hands. So I actually prefer the Vitas at the moment because they're really nice and pointy and sharp. If you are just beginning to lash, be super careful that you never ever face your tweezers towards the client like this, yeah? We want to avoid that at all costs, because what happens now if the client goes back or goes up or goes to the side, yeah? I will read the comments once I've finished explaining all of this, because it's very hard to read and do this at the same time. I just look at my screen and see what I can actually see. So what I would suggest is to always stay around this sort of radius, like a half moon shape, and point the tweezers more so that way, okay? Not that way, because you're gonna get it into the client's eyes, yeah? Rather poke them here than into the eye, okay? So always point them in that sort of circle, yeah? I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense, yeah? Keep pointing that way. Do not isolate like this. Very, very dangerous. Because our clients fall asleep a lot, right? And some get startled and they go a bit, I don't know, what do you call it? They get like these little jittery moments where they just jump up, right? So we want to avoid that. Now, with our right hand, and it's the same with volume as well as classics, it totally is up to you what tweezer you want to use. Obviously, volume or classic, different tweezers, obviously. You kind of want to make sure that you always keep this nice and straight as well. Like, try not to get too much into these sort of movements, because especially if you are a beginner, you will get very sore very quickly. Now, I've been lashing for 8 years and my wrists have kind of gotten used to all the pressure and different angles. But when I now, let's say I'm taking my lashes and I'm putting them on, can you see how my wrist is still quite straight? I don't do any of this or any of this business. It's gonna be bad, yeah? So with isolating, lean your client's head to the side if you want to get into the inner corner, yeah? You don't have to try and get to inner corner trying to like get in there like that. Move it, and then you can get in really, really easily. Your clients are happy to move their head. Let me tell you that. Sometimes when I get my lashes done, I'm actually happy that they tell me, okay, can you just move your head around a little bit, because my head falls asleep. It gets sore, my neck gets sore, and so I actually quite, you know, find it a relief when my head is moved around. So this is just in relation to holding your wrists, yeah? Now, when you're holding your isolation tweezers, I would recommend to use at least 3 fingers, and sometimes I use these 2 to kind of slightly support myself on my client's head, yeah, depending on where I am. So let's say I want to isolate here, and I will try and come a bit closer. Can zoom in like this. Obviously, Facebook Live always makes everything a bit blurry, so bear with that. Let's say I am out isolating with these ones. I kind of support myself slightly with those 2 fingers, and with these 3, I move my tweezers in like that. Most of the time, I will have my other pair of tweezers, unless I'm doing volume, although I do tend to also isolate first. But if you're really good at isolating, sometimes you don't have to. But what I do is I literally push the lashes up a little bit, and I also make sure the client's head is tilted backwards so I can see into the lash line. I then go in, and can you see how I'm just slightly supporting myself here. I'm not floating in mid-air. Very, very dangerous, okay? Very dangerous. Thanks, Catherine. It's great to have you in the 6-week course. So we are going in like this, slightly supporting. Make sure you don't completely put your weight on them. Always, your client comes first, yeah? You can't just do these sort of things. Don't put shit on their forehead. Don't do it. Like, it's not comfortable, yeah? Unless your client is totally used to it from the very beginning, I just don't want you to do that from the start, really. It's not nice because the client needs to feel relaxed. What if they sneeze? Something might fall off their forehead, yeah? It's not good. So go in with your isolating tweezers once you have pushed the lash line a little bit up, and then pinpoint the lash you want to isolate, and then you go in and open up and isolate. Now I will come in a bit closer as well to show you this. I can only come as close as I can with this camera, unfortunately. I wish I had someone here who could film this for me. Okay, let me show on this end. Like, I have no idea how blurry or how HD it is now. I'm assuming it's not very clear, but I will show you anyway. So obviously this one has already been used. Now, can you see how I'm leaning my client's head a little bit to the left side? Now I can easily get in with my hand and I'm holding it straight. I'm not doing any of this business, yeah? I'm holding my hand nice and straight. I'm going in with, let's pick up a lash, just for funsies. Okay. So, we're gonna go in. You can even, when you have a lash on here already, use the bottom of your tweezers to push these lashes forward. Have a look at the lash you want to isolate. Go ahead and open it up. And then you can dip in and apply, yeah? You don't have to pick up your lash first. You can go in like this. Pinpoint the isolation. Pick up your lash, dip, apply, yeah? So that's easy, easy enough. Now, what I see a lot of people do wrong is that they try and they keep going and searching for lashes. It takes a lot of time. It wastes a lot of time. I'm glad you make it. You made it as well, Laurie. And also, what I see, like this hand is just like doing nothing. Yeah, use it if you can. And the way that we get really close attachment is by going and putting this up so we can see into the lash line and having our client's head back as well. So this is how I isolate. And you know, this showing you this is literally all it is. Like in, isolate, bam, there's one lash isolated, yeah? Then you can go in and apply your lash, dip it in and apply. Something I see a lot of people do is have the tweezers poking into the eye pads. How dangerous is that? What if that pokes right through the eye pads, yeah? Rest them ever so slightly. I literally teach all my students to not even touch the iPad. Do not touch your iPad with the tweezers. Never ever go around with your tweezers like this because it can poke the client in the eye. Is there any questions on isolation? I'm going to get rid of this again because I have a bit to cover yet. I'm going to do dipping next. Is there any questions on isolation? Let me have a look at the other questions that were there. Oh God, this angle is not very favorable for my body type. You're staying up for this. Yay! Awesome. Let me have a look. Sue says she sees what she's been doing wrong. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, keep your wrists straight as much as you can. And don't be afraid to support yourself ever so slightly. It does not bother your client. Honestly, it does not. You don't have to try and just float there in mid-air because you're not going to have that control and it's going to be much more dangerous and you'll much more likely slip up with your isolation or your application tweezers as well. Kuram, no, I'm not interested in eyelash extension tools. How can I kick this guy out? I have to do that later. You like my nails? Thank you. They're special. They're like a fade. Talita says, you're so much fun, Julia, and your videos are very helpful. Glad I found you. Oh, awesome. Great to have you as well. Okay, Becca, what about the itty bitty baby ones that are basically right next to the lash you need? Okay. So what I do, I'll actually jump over to my wall where I can show you what I do. Hi Brent, how are you, my darling? Now I have to find my things. Yeah, they're driving nuts because they won't stay. Yeah, I understand. So let's assume, no, I have to plug this in somewhere. Sorry for all the running around. I literally have not enough of these little phone adapters. I have like 6 glam cores, but only one of the phone adapters, which is kind of going with me at all times. No, I'm not a lefty. It was only because my phone was back to front. Okay. Yeah. You can see that properly now. Awesome. So, let's say you have all of your lashes there and you want a lash like this lash, but it has a tiny baby lash next to it. So what I do is I grab my isolation tweezers and I push the big ones out of the way. So just the baby lash stands out. Now I grab a lash that is 5 or 6 mil, or even 4, if depending on how big this lash is, and in like 0.03, 0.04, or 0.05, depending on the thickness, and I put it on. Now you let that dry, move on to another area, then you come back and you have no issues anymore whatsoever isolating this. Don't be so impatient and think you need to isolate this and you keep trying to come back. Put something on it, leave it be, let it dry or cure, come back later. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Awesome. Now let me go back again. We literally just had over 100 people watching, which hasn't happened in a very, very long time. You like my chair? Yeah, it's awesome. You should check out my cushion too. My cushion is amazing. So great, isn't it? My cushion actually had its own Instagram post because it's amazing. You are very welcome.